Well, last time we saw this Accucraft all-brass locomotive, I unboxed it. I said I bought it second-hand. The person I bought it from said he tested it and it was working, but for some reason, now I've got it, it's not working. Hopefully it's something simple, like a loose wire shaken in transit, but I'm going to have to find out and hopefully fix it. So just to prove that the track is live, got the help of this little locomotive. Movement, that's good. Back to the diesel. So I've got to crack this open somehow. Not really sure how to do that. Yeah, we'll put the hammer away, shall we? So before we open it, if you remember from the last time we looked at this, we found this little wire sticking out the side, trapped between the frame and the engine housing. Hopefully we'll find out what that's for, and wire it at a loose end. So carefully turning it over, and we'll work out how to open it. So I think this is the section I need to open, just the engine housing, so I can see the motor and all the connections inside. Looking underneath, I first see this little, what looks like an access hatch. So I thought first to open that. Then you can see these screws all around the underside, which are obviously holding down what's above the deck. Now I noticed there was a few screws missing, so that means those screws that were in the little bag which came with the model aren't spares, they've actually just not been put back in when this has been apart before by a previous owner. I tried getting in with various tiny spanners, but found it was easiest with a pair of pliers. And once we got this little hatch open, you can see it's not really for access, as it's got circuit boards and a few other bits attached to it. So I'm not really going to get in very far if I just try that, so scratch that idea. On to removing the other screws, which will release the main body. And as we can see, there's 2, 4, 6 screws holding the engine housing down. So the engine housing is attached to the cab at the back, so there's more screws here for releasing the cab from the frame as well. You see 2 towards the back, then there's 2 more towards the front. If you look inside the cab, you can see 1 at the front there and 1 at the back. Just there. Same on the other side, however, these have already been removed and not put back in again. Now at this point, there was just 1 more screw to go, which has this air tank in the way, so I've got to remove that first. That's attached from the top just by 1 screw. And then just checking that we're totally free before I turn it over and have a proper look. And then we can hopefully see what's going on, or not going on. Now straight away we can see there's more loose wires. I found 2 grey and 2 black, and 1 of each looked like they'd been cut, as the wires were not on show. So looking around to see where they might have gone, I first looked towards the circuit board and saw there was a spare port at the top on this side and the same on the other side. However, I thought to look where the electric was actually brought up from the wheels to see where it powered the motor, and saw there was absolutely nothing. So I put the wires straight directly onto the track and it moved. And there we go. Now up to this point on AMS and Accucraft models, I'd only seen power pickup by the use of the sprung copper strips like this. This is on the Galloping Goose. I've seen the same on the AMS Jackson Sharp coaches and that. However, under this model, the wheels are not the same. It doesn't have any bogies or wheel trucks, so I can't really see how it would particularly fit. Now you can see underneath there are extra holes, which are likely for the wires to pop through. But where to, I wasn't sure. You can see the wheels themselves are insulated from the axle, to keeping the electricity separate. I wondered if the electric was actually picked up from the axle boxes. And that little screw at the top, next to the spring. I didn't think that was likely, and I couldn't see any way that the wires would be tided away coming over the wheels. So I went onto Facebook and I consulted the groups and asked if anyone else had one of these models and whether they could just show a picture of the bottom to see how it looked. And with the help of Matthew from the F-Scale Model Trains group, he showed me this. And here we can see it's got more like an LGB style power pickup, where you got the sprung torpedoes going against the inside of the wheels. So, some time has passed. Christmas happened, New Year's, 1,000 subscribers, a few other things, and I've also booked a trip to the USA where I'm retracing much of the old Rio Grande route between Salt Lake City and Denver. That's going to be an absolutely awesome trip, and I hope you're subscribed so that you can see the resulting videos from that after July. Anyway, back to this. Actually, soon after I recorded this bit, my Facebook account was stolen by a hacker, and they set me back a few more weeks as I tried to get Facebook to reclaim my account. No luck so far. Facebook sucks. Anyway, back to this. A recap. When I bought this, the guy I bought it from asked if we can talk on the phone because he wanted to explain how he was unhappy that the windows had popped out and he hadn't had a chance to fix them. And from that we had a really good chat for quite a while, 10-15 minutes or so, about the hobby in general. So he's a really nice guy and I would buy from him again. However, he did say that this was tested, but that's got to be a mistake because it would not have run in the condition it is. He did explain that the person who had it before him, so I'm the third owner, he said the first owner looked into the possibility of converting it to battery power. Now I think he probably went a little bit further than that because, as we've seen, the components underneath have been removed. So I need to try and restore electrical pickup from the wheels, and Accucraft don't carry many spares, so what I've done is I bought these. This is the LGB electrical contacts, which similar to the Accucraft ones, they're like sort of sprung torpedo type they're like sprung torpedoes, like bullet shaped things where the end is sprung and presses against the wheel. So we'll have a look at these. Hopefully we can make them fit and they'll do the job. So let's see. So it's LGB part number 63193, and it's two fittings, enough for two axles, each with a pair of electrical contacts. They slot together very easily, and the contacts themselves are very lightly sprung. I just have to work out how to make them fit. So these screw holes show us where the original Accucraft contacts sat, the rear one on this beam here, and the front one was on the underside of the deck. Now, I don't think these are going to be able to fit the same way. They sort of sat close to where the originals went, but there's not enough material there to attach with screws. I did consider just being lazy and gluing them. So the front one would glue in like this, and the rear one actually fitted quite well on the back of the axle box. But I thought for maintenance purposes, if I wanted to take them apart in the future, that would have been very difficult to do, so I thought, no, I'll work something better out. So, I thought about putting in a post for each one, and therefore I could screw them onto the top. And for the rear one, I cut a wedge off of it, so it could fit up closer to the axle box. See how it was originally? Only just about fitted on the very rim of the wheel. But with the wedge cut out, it managed to go a bit closer. Now I found an acrylic bar. Now acrylic is a very hard plastic, so I'd have preferred something a bit more suited for modelling, but I found any of those were actually hollow, and you can't screw onto hollow. So this will have to do. So I cut the bar to the correct lengths for each one, and then I could drill into the top for the screws. Now, a word of warning, acrylic, if you stop drilling and it's got a bit warm, it really sticks, so make sure you pull out quickly. Then it was putting the wires into place. In the back, I had to go through into the cab before going down through the floor. And then to solder on the contacts. Now if you're doing something similar to this, make sure you've got the wires the right way around, between the left and right. Otherwise your locomotive might go the opposite way to the rest of your models, if you're working with DC. So we slot the contacts in. And then screw them onto the posts. Then a quick dry fit before we get out the super glue. Now they seem to have stuck pretty well, so let's see if it works. Yes, it works. And by the way, look, the windows are fixed. I'll explain that later on. As the mission is successful, we'll put it all back together. Oh, and look, there's a driver there as well. I'll explain him later too. As I put the body back on, just wanted to make sure there were no wires getting caught in between. and then carefully turn over upside down, hopefully for the last time. And then put all the screws back in. I did manage to put more screws in that I took out, because remember, some were already out when I started. It just takes care and patience. Ta-da! Finally. So the windows are fixed, and there's a man in there as well, so that's a video to come soon. So please make sure you're subscribed. Thank you for watching. See you soon. Do you like trains? Do you like model trains? Do you like large model trains? Do you like real trains? Trips, visits in the UK and other places. Helpful stuff, interesting stuff, fun stuff. All kinds of stuff to do with trains. Please make sure you're subscribed. There's much to see, and there is so much to come in the future.